15 shipwrecks you can see on Google Earth. MV Pantiosis. This ship was smuggling cigarettes and being pursued by the Greek Navy during stormy weather when she ran aground in this picture-perfect cove. There she remains, turned into a tourist attraction, rusting and buried in the sand and gravel of the cove. Lady Elizabeth. She was sailing from Vancouver with a load of lumber in December of 1912. Encountering heavy winds as she came around Cape Horn, she was damaged and lost her cargo and 4 men. While limping in for repairs, she struck a rock and sustained further damage. She was then bought and used as a floating warehouse in the Falkland Islands. On December 17, 1936, a massive storm plucked her from her moorings and she drifted ashore in Whalebone Cove, where she still sits today. World Discoverer. Built in 1974, this cruise ship sailed the oceans for over 3 decades. Her time came to a swift end when she struck an uncharted reef in Sandfly Passage in the Solomon Islands. The captain grounded her in Roderick Bay to keep her from sinking totally. There she remains today. SS Peralta. The SS Peralta was built during World War I and made out of concrete to test the viability of concrete ships. She is still afloat and moored with the 9 sister concrete ships built during World War II to make a breakwater in Powell River, British Columbia. County of Roxboro. Built in 1885, this ship sailed the oceans for 20 years and was indeed a sailing ship with 4 masts, but made of iron. She met her end on February 8, 1906, in a massive cyclone where giant waves tossed her onto the coral reefs of the atoll of Takaro. The captain and 15 men survived the wreck, but 10 men were lost. She is still visible today on Google Maps. Altair. The Altair was a Liberty ship built during the war. It was retrofitted as a cargo ship in the 1960s. The strong storm forced her aground south of the Rio Grande River in Brazil. It is now a tourist attraction and home to many animals. SS Mahino. This ship served as a hospital ship during World War I. After the war, it served as a passenger ship before being decommissioned. While being towed to a shipbreaker, a cyclone cut the ship loose and it drifted to where it rests now, on a beach of Fraser Island in Australia. SS Palo Alto. This ship was an experimental concrete ship built to see service during World War I. It was anchored near Aptos, California, where it remains today. A pier was built out to it in 1930 as it became a popular tourist attraction. SS Francisco Maurizon. During a heavy snowstorm in November 28, 1960, the ship was swamped with water brought on by high winds before it mistakenly ran aground on South Manitou Island. The ship is now home to lots of birds. St. Christopher. This ship served as a rescue tug during World War II. After the war, it was used for salvage operations until it had engine trouble and ran aground. The wreck was cleaned of all remaining fuel in 2004 to prevent contamination of the surrounding environment. MV Primrose. The Primrose ran aground on a coastal reef about 100 yards from the island. The islanders are known to be hostile and are left in isolation even today, so it is lucky the crew stayed aboard the ship and the islanders couldn't reach the stranded ship with their primitive pole-propelled canoes. A helicopter rescue was performed, and the ship and its cargo remain on the island today. MV Plassey. This ship started service as a naval trawler in the Royal Navy during the Second World War. It was sold in the merchant service after the war. It was a mighty steamship and used to ferry general goods around the coast of Ireland until it lost a battle with a storm in March of 1960. Mediterranean Sky. Built in 1953, she started life as a mixed cargo and passenger ship. Sold several times, she continued as a cruise ship until 1996. In 1999, the old ship was towed to shallow waters to prevent it from sinking. In 2003, the ship rolled to one side, has not changed its position since. Bonus ship. The MF Arsenio is capsized a short distance away. It was built as a ferry in 1980 and was active until 2011. Not sure exactly when this became a shipwreck. Peter Irondale. Built in 1890, this four-masted steel ship sailed the seas. She had just left Mexico and was to pick up a load of wheat bound for England when she ran aground due to high winds and swift currents. Hitting the Clatsop spit with such ferocity, 3 of the 4 masts snapped. She immediately became a tourist attraction. SS Monte Carlo. The Monte Carlo was a gambling ship that first set sail in 1932, hosting 15,000 people a week for drinking, gambling, and fine dining. She was moored 3 miles out to sea with only 2 crew when a bad storm hit and she was washed ashore. Due to the illegal debauchery that took place on board, no one owned up to owning her, so here she still sits. After strong storms, more of her is unearthed before the shifting sand takes her again.
It's Brad's laboratory. It's kinda crazy and a little bit weird, but it's gonna be awesome sauce, cause it's Brad's laboratory. It's Brad's laboratory. So grab a spot, you'll learn a lot, maybe even how to build a robot, cause it's Brad's laboratory.